Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This is episode 1 where Duper joins us live,
He decided to show up tonight.
getting everything ready.
I mean, we do one K-pop song, and he thinks he's the fucking diva now, and he can just show up whenever the fuck he wants.
I know.
Like, God damn it, Duper, or should I call you Sing Sing, or whatever your name is now?
All right.
I'm just gonna call him No Graphics Man.
Poontang.
No graphics, man. Damn.
Still waiting on the
low
graphics.
blows tonight. Low blows.
You started it, Lee. You started this hatred.
This isn't even gonna be put out. We're gonna cut this part.
No, we're not.
No, this is it. This is how the show
This is
starts.
the beginning of the show. Welcome everybody. Hello. So hopefully you all enjoyed our little K-pop and true crime episode that came out.
Dude, Greg, I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody hated the K-pop.
Yeah, I know. I'm so bummed at that too, because it was a K-pop song about pie and like promoted it and nobody wanted to hear it, man.
No, everybody
And-
fucking hated it. It's the worst idea ever, and we're never gonna do another K-pop song.
but
Speaking
it
of which,
will-
I have another K-pop song up if you want to try it.
Oh, I gotta find the music. Hang on.
Nah, we'll do it. We'll do it later. We'll do it later.
Okay,
Yeah.
but give me a minute, and I'll find music for it. It'll be great.
There you go.
We
Hey,
know
Dupe, how
Duper
you
didn't
doing?
write that song though, huh?
No,
I asked him for graphics for the song. But, yeah.
So Rick, I
Greg
heard you
did.
tried to do some kung fu shit this fucking past week and it didn't work out so well for you, man. What happened to you?
I got a sports injury, Greg.
A
That's
sports
what it
injury.
is.
Okay. Before we get into that, I got some big news for you guys. Okay.
What?
So-
You're quitting the pod?
You only wish, dude. I
It's
can't.
not big news.
I can't screen share.
Yeah, you can screen share.
No, it says host will not allow me.
Dude,
to.
I'll fucking there you go. You can screen share. Try it again.
Okay. This is
Can't
big
wait for this one.
for everybody.
Here's
All
your
So now Rick is sharing the screen. All
ready?
right.
Listen, I mean, I gotta ask you, how does it feel to be traveling again?
Great.
You know, in the airport again after what you went through,
A little bit of anxiety, but
right?
it's been good.
And a lot of people are curious
Yeah.
what exactly you saw, because
I know.
you know you alluded to what you saw, but like we just want to know, like, you know,
Yeah.
what did you see?
I mean, thanks for asking that, but I have been told I cannot comment on it right now.
I see.
I'm sorry.
What was the reason that you wanted to get off so bad?
Again, can't speak on that right now, but
Understood.
I was distressed and I was getting off the plane no matter what. I just probably didn't need to make the scene that I made.
Right.
But I was getting off that plane, for sure.
Right, and you stand by that, like
100%,
even now.
100%.
Okay. So watch
What
her demeanor at the beginning of that video. She's light. She's carefree. She's having a good time. Once that question comes up, boom, she snaps. Like, no, serious fucking conversation.
Dude, she's probably in the middle of multiple civil investigations for causing a flight disturbance on an
100%.
aircraft and
She's
is
in
probably
legal
taking the
trouble now.
advice of lawyers not to answer questions.
And what
Yeah.
did she say? If she said 100%, I would have got off that plane.
Okay.
Okay.
100%. What did she
And?
see?
She's fucking crazy, dude.
Dude, you're
She-
crazy.
Ooh.
Okay.
Duper.
I'm crazy because I don't cause a flight disturbance. Oh no.
Duper,
how
are you
normal
gonna
I
catch up
am.
with her and are you gonna fix her?
No.
And,
Oh,
and
okay.
why is she wearing the same top? See, she's all about attention. She's wearing like the same damn top from,
Did you watch her
from the
demeanor?
video.
She
Watch
is
her
wearing
demeanor.
the same top.
That she wants to be recognized in the airport. And the
No,
fact
no,
that she did this,
no.
now it made her
Same
a celebrity.
earring.
So everywhere she goes, people
No.
are going to
Was
ask
the
her about
same
this.
Same
earrings?
hairstyle.
Same
I
hair.
guarantee
Same
you
time.
she's going to get book deals and movie deals and all this bullshit just for the fucking money, dude. It's not because of a conspiracy theory.
Because it's a body double. It's not even her.
Oh my
Obviously, that's
God.
what's going on.
Really?
No,
You
that looks
were-
like her.
You are special.
Obviously, that's what's going on.
Bless
And
your
obviously-
heart there,
Obviously,
Dusty.
the CIA has got into her and shut down the freedom and whatever she saw on that plane.
They
was
shut her down, but they allow her to move freely around the country.
No, not
Think
her.
about that.
not her.
Oh, her body double.
Her body double.
Who shares her same exact thoughts and craziness
And outfit.
and
earrings,
outfit
And
and
hairstyle.
hairstyle and jewelry
And nails.
and
You
rings
Say what you will. This is a
and
bomb.
Twitter account.
Same
This is-
shoes.
Just wait till we find out what she saw on that plane.
Who cares?
She didn't say
Okay.
shit.
She saw a demon, man.
She saw no demon. She saw a
Saw-
dude that was weird.
She saw a dude who had multiple tattoos and fucking different contacts and make his eye look weird, and she didn't know how to handle it.
She's from the great state of Texas, and they don't let queers like that in that state. So she's really confused. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's kind of
we have viewers in Texas, Rick, and they're sensitive to that type of stuff. So watch your words.
Yeah, that's kind of how Californians react when they actually see a man.
When they actually see a man?
Yeah, they're like,
I am a man.
That's toxic.
Oh, man.
I'm a man.
Yeah, Rick can't talk about some topics because his wife tells him not to. So
does that not make what does that do to my physical penis? I'm trying to understand what that means. Like,
I'm talking about. Well, I'm not talking about the sex male. I'm talking about the attributes of being a male, of being a man.
So you believe in different genders by how they relate, not just what they are biologically?
No, those are two separate things.
Well, because I mean, you're talking about that as if I would relate as something different than what I am biologically.
Do you relate as something differently than what you are biologically?
According to you. So I'm just trying to understand where your head's at. You tell me.
Where my head is?
Yes.
Well, it's deeper than this, Rick. It's actually a feminization of men in the California state.
So you think only in California men are emasculated?
Oh, no. Portland as well. Oregon.
So Portland and California,
New York,
men
Jersey.
are emasculated.
Yes.
So you don't believe in
that's a big word.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so emasculation for those that need
ejaculation?
That is
I know what that is.
To carry more feminine traits. I've been emasculated since I was born with 4 fucking sisters and a mom.
That's true.
I don't have a choice. I grew up around women, so I can relate to them, and I'm sensitive to that. That doesn't take away that I'm a man. I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Physically, you're a man. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, dude, do you have to have 16-inch python biceps to be a man?
What I'm saying, Rick, like I'm kind of beating her in the bush here.
Brother.
But what I'm saying is you're a bitch, dude. You're a fucking bitch.
Oh, shots fired.
Fucking brotherhood.
Damn. You know, we shit all over his fucking Gomas fucking conspiracy video, and he just fucking hates the world.
Upset.
Because that's what I'm saying. You guys
he shows up 10 minutes late.
You guys don't have the balls.
Not prepped for the show.
For this woman who saw a demon on a plane.
Well, you brought up my wife as if I don't have the balls to stand up to my wife or something. And like,
oh, dude, your wife would beat.
In this house, it's I don't know. Maybe that's just too progressive, but we find ourselves as equals in this house. That's kind of what we do.
No,
we respect each other that way. It's weird.
You
I don't have to stand up to her or look down on her. She's my equal.
Well, you can't stand up right now, can you, Rick? Why is that?
I can't fucking stand up. Thanks a lot.
You want to tell the world why you can't stand before you so rudely interrupted?
Greg. Hey. Rick doesn't even have a leg to stand on, does he?
I don't have a foot. I don't have a foot to stand on. I do not have a foot to stand on.
You just got to get 1 foot at a time, man. That's
it.
So,
I only have 1 foot to do at a time. So that's the hard part.
Rick tried to speak back.
I fell.
No, what it really is it's a tragic story about diabetes, and he lost a limb.
None of that's true.
Yeah. So whatever you guys do out there, quit eating Reese's constantly.
I was just going to point out that obesity is an epidemic.
Yes, it is. Yes.
No.
You better wear a mask.
Injury. That's what happened. So
foot injury doing what, Rick?
Playing softball. Which to old men is baseball.
So did you hit a home run?
No, this was a hard oppo liner. I was just trying to get on base before because I hit it oppo, so it went the same direction I would be running for those that don't play ball. And I needed to get on base. So
dude, I wish I was there. I wanted to like see how bad you went down and cried. And
I didn't go down. It was funny because the fucking ump could hear it, but my foot went pop. I was like, oh my God. I felt the pop. And like there's a base runner's path, right? That's the line to first base. And I just went right off that motherfucker because I saw an opening to the opposing bench. And I'm like, well, they're gonna have me now. So, like, I just got over there as fast as I could, and then fucking crumbled onto the bench, and I had to get carried out because like there was no stepping anymore.
Did you declare that the game was over?
No, actually, that was the last out of the game because I couldn't run the base. They were just like, well, toss him out into the game. He's hurt. I was like, God damn it.
It'd been so much better if you hit a home run, though, at least, because then your sacrifice would have been worth it.
Like straight Gibson,
you just hit a fucking line out, and you're like,
that shit. Yeah, that would have been amazing. All right, well, I don't know. I pulled a Kobe on the wrong sport. That's how I looked at it.
And you lost the game.
Yeah, we did lose that game, but we won the first one, so that's okay.
Man, I mean,
now I'm sure IR for the season.
I'm sure.
Go ahead.
No. Okay, I'll go. No, I'm saying I'm sure you're such a detriment to your team, like Mike Trout is. To
I
the
am. I'm
Angels,
the
but,
leadoff hitter.
you know,
That's what I do. I bat leadoff for that reason. I get on base and I let them bring me home.
mm.
That's my.
How many stolen
role
bases
on
you
that
got?
team. Huh?
How many stolen bases
You're
you
not
got?
allowed to steal bases in softball.
What?
Yeah.
Says who?
The
Stupid
fucking league,
rules.
like
That's a conspiracy right there, dude.
you're not
Why
even allowed to
can't-
lead off in softball. You
Why
have to
can't
wait
they steal
until the-
bases in softball, dude? The CIA, MK Ultra,
Nope.
You would
Because it's
know.
co-ed.
bastards.
Because it's co-ed.
No, this is men's. It's
Oh,
it's
it's just
it's just a
men's?
rule for softball. You
Oh
can't
well,
do
no,
that.
no. It's men's in California, so it's not quite men's. It's a step below.
I don't understand.
What does that even mean?
I don't even know what that means.
It's just very.
You're from California, you gay. What are you
Call me a
talking
gay? Did you just call me a gay?
I just don't understand.
Like,
Like, what are
You
you
happy?
saying? You grew up here.
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I
So
broke
yeah, I
free.
don't know. Turns out I dislocated my foot and tore my plantar fascia. So I'm on the mend for like 9 fucking weeks,
So
or as
you're
long
on
as I
the
can milk
IR?
it. Hoping I can milk this till Christmas. It's been nice.
Yeah.
I feel
Right.
sorry for your family right now because how much hell are you putting them through right now?
So not much. I'm trying to do a lot on my own. Actually, the hell that I'm giving them is my stubbornness to accept that I can't walk. So I'm doing a lot of like, fuck you, I'll drive. And Rachel's like, are you fucking serious, dude? And I'm like, no, I can drive. Really, I can. She's like, no,
Hmm.
get the fuck over. Like, unless you have to drive,
That's,
I don't
that's
want
that
you
equal
driving.
footing we're talking about, right?
Say what? Equal. It was equal footing. What's the other thing I was doing? She's like, what the fuck? Oh, the other day I was trying to bring up my backpack and like my ice pack for my foot because I got like an ice boot and like all this shit and I had it in my hands and then I have both crutches. I was on both crutches at that time. And I'm trying to crutch up while holding all this shit and shit's dropping and I keep stopping to try and pick it up. And she can hear me going, because it just hurts. And she comes over, she sees me. I've gotten like 5 steps up. And she's like, dude, what the fuck, Rick? Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm not asking for help. I'm gonna do this. So like I wound up like doing this crawl up the stairs and dragging everything in my backpack. Because I'm like, dude, I that's probably the torture. It's not me asking them to do stuff. They gladly do it, but I don't want them to have to do that.
That's bullshit, dude. Rick, we know you got a little fucking bell. You're sitting on a couch. Like,
Dude, I
ding,
need a
ding,
fucking
ding,
bell.
ding.
I would love that shit. Honestly, I'm going crazy. Like this is breaking my routine. I have a weekly routine, you know. I'm pretty active during the week and right now I'm just sitting and I hate it. Like makes
Like,
me feel like-
Rachel, make me a sandwich.
if she was home. It was great. And honestly, I was starting to feel better, like where I could walk a little bit, you know, if I have the right shoes on or something like that, that my slides are like orthopedic. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like my Nike slides work. So I'm like walking around slowly and it's great all day long until I had to leave to go pick up my daughter. And there's one piece of dog kibble from my dumbass dog who knocked his bowl over. And I'm walking to get my shoes. And that one little hard piece of kibble hit right into the heel of the plantar fascia where it's ripped. And it felt like it ripped again. And then I screamed like a lot of cuss words. Like I know my neighbors heard me because I was just like, fuck. Like I didn't know what to do. It caught me so off guard. So like, granted, I went back to the crutch at that point. I was like, never mind. I tried. It didn't work. Yeah.
Now, since we're on the topic of sports injuries,
Yeah.
we do have a K-pop song about sports injuries.
We're not doing it.
Rick is doing it.
I gotta find the
audience is
song. I
closed.
gotta find the music.
How about we do it?
I'll
At
do it
the
towards
end.
the end of the show.
Do it at the
No,
end so then people
doing
can
it
tune
now.
out. No, because we don't want to lose the
I mean,
audience.
some people could
at
tune
the
out.
Beginning.
Bro, we lost him the second you showed up.
Fucked up, dude.
I know.
That's fucked up.
Hmm.
I love you.
I
was
really
gonna tell you
enjoyed the shit talking.
Oh,
What were you,
yeah,
what were you
I-
gonna tell me?
I had a story to tell you too.
No, you didn't.
I did. You want to
you
hear it?
didn't.
You want to hear it?
I do
Oh,
actually.
I love stories.
Okay. So last night I had a series of dreams that were pretty messed up, and I need you guys to help
Oh
me.
God, what
interpret
did I
these
do in your
dreams.
dream?
All right.
Oh, I want to know what I did because you know it's good and I did it.
No, like there's like we were at this house party, Lee and I, and it was
Oh,
like this
so I wasn't
weird
even
house.
there?
No. Only Lee appears in my dreams.
Oh man.
Oh,
I am the man. I'm the man of
Only
someone's
my dreams.
dreams at least. Shit.
But like we're in this giant house, right? And it's a party and there's girls and stuff, right? And then also within this house is like a fucking lawn. And then like in this house, it's like there's these cars way off in the distance. Like they're far enough off in the distance that the people are like 6 inches, right? So they're pretty far away. So this house, I don't know what house this is, but it's huge. It's a dream. So roll with it. But on this in this house, way far out, and Lee disappears, right? So now it's just me.
Typical Lee.
And then, right, there's this like black tractor, but it looks like almost like a steam engine from back in the day, and it's just like revving its engine against this other car that's parked in front of it, right? And so these two cars are parked in front of one another.
Wait, you said rubbing its engine? Like it was like
revving,
had its
revving
titties
their
out and it was
engines.
rubbing it out.
So they're like rum, 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 right?
Yeah,
And,
rub
like,
those titties
on the
I
tractor.
love your cylinders.
Like, the guy-
I'm gonna blow a gasket.
The guy is like sitting on top of the tractor, right? And then behind those two cars is another car.
Was
like-
he was he on the car like sexy, like an 80s hairband video where they just
Exactly.
sit on the hood?
And then behind that was this guy I knew from the military, and he's behind this other car, and he goes to rev his engine, but his car's in drive, so he rams into the car that was in front of him, and then that car rams into the tractor, right? And then that dude falls off the tractor, and then people are like screaming, they're like, oh my god, because like he loses part of his arm, and then I'm like, dude, and like I tell somebody next to me, I'm like, hey, you should probably stay down, like all super calm. And then he gets up and like his arm is dangling just by like the skin. It's like disconnected. And like he's like walking, and I'm like, dude, he should probably sit down. Like, I don't know why I'm like so calm in this moment, but then he face plants into the ground, right? Boom. And then like all this cartoonish level blood is just like all over the place. And he's like in this puddle of blood, and I'm like, somebody should roll him over on his side. And then like this flood of water comes in, like this murky brown water comes in and just washes him away. And then I go to like this bedroom. I'm like, hey Lee, dude, wake up, we should go. Like that was that first dream. It was like so weird. What does that mean?
I don't know how to interpret
I wasn't.
that.
I was totally tuned out. I was finding K-pop music.
Yeah,
I
I was
I
texting you,
think-
telling you that we could hear everything you've been playing.
Yeah.
Really?
Rick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad, dude.
Yeah, I texted you. I said, hey, we can hear all the stuff you're sampling.
So you know that I found something then.
Yeah. I've learned how to talk over the distractions for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
To talk through them. Greg, what does that dream mean?
I was gonna say, one, you drive way too much, and then two, that annoying podcast guy that you listen to, like on 2 times speed, like maybe you need to cut
Ben
off from those.
Carson?
Who?
Ben.
Oh, Shapiro. Yeah,
There you go, Shapiro.
yeah, that guy. Like, I still
And
can't
then-
believe you listen to him on 2 times speed while driving. But I think maybe like those podcasts are like fucking up your brain,
I had a
and you're
second
so
dream,
worried about driving.
but I wasn't driving.
Yeah, but there's cars in your dream. They're running into each
was.
other and crashing
Yeah.
into each other. So you had a fear that they were going to run into you or hurt other people.
To me,
But I was so far away.
it
And
sounds
Shapiro's just
like,
because he's annoying.
It sounds like you were thinking back to the good old days, remembering our 10-minute party.
Maybe, I guess.
20-minute
right?
party.
I don't
but
remember anybody
And-
losing
and
their arm.
You
there.
incorporated
Do you remember-
Rick.
Do you remember the
because
guy
Rick was
at
gone,
Swingers?
but
Lee's
the way you're
talking.
bringing Rick back was by having this giant mansion because he's fucking rich, right?
I wish.
Hmm.
And then all the racing and stuff because we used to do all that stupid shit,
Mhm.
right? Dude, you missed all your friends, man. I get it. I miss you too, buddy.
Remember when that guy died in the parking lot at Schooners and I was trying to help him, but you're like, we have to leave. I'm drunk. I was like, dude, that guy's literally, I'm holding his head in my
Yeah.
hand as
Yeah.
he's, we're waiting for an ambulance. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. You remember that night? I remember
No,
that
no,
night.
no, I don't remember that. But yeah, I think
Oh, he's quick to deflect that one. No. And to be clear, the cause of that dude's death had nothing to do with us. So
No,
let's just put
another
that
guy
out there.
knocked him out, like hit him hard, and he fell back onto the concrete, like stoppers in a parking lot, where the parking spaces are, and his head hit the back of that, or the back of his head hit that.
dude, we already covered the fact that I don't trust the government. like with the Tiffany Gomas thing at the very beginning, I think the CIA is trying to silence her. Dude, when the cops are on their way, I just assume I'm going to prison.
There was an
I don't-
ambulance on the way. It wasn't even the cops.
Dude, sirens.
Now,
Doesn't matter. Let's
thankfully-
get out of here.
As he was pulling me away from leaving there, the ambulance pulled up right then. So I'm sure the guy's okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah. He was
Hopefully.
fine. He was
Yeah.
fine.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
He was.
I
good.
lost a shirt that night.
I mean, he probably fucking tore his plantar fasciitis and fucking it was.
It's not fasciitis, it's the fascia. Fasciitis is a syndrome.
His fasciitis is fucked, man.
God
I mean, it
damn
went
it.
straight to his heart.
Speaking of my
Probably-
Your
dream,
wife knows this shit.
Speaking
like,
of my
That's my
fucking-
dream,
wife. That's not me.
Oh, yeah.
She's a
I'm an idiot.
pediatrician.
I've always told you I'm an idiot. That knowledge doesn't fucking soak into me. I'm my own man. Damn it.
Your
I think-
wife works
Lee-
in virology.
Lee, I think was onto
Virology.
something.
So viruses.
Oh,
Yeah.
They don't
What does that
even
have to
care.
do with
They don't
plantar
care.
fascia?
She
We're
was on
talking about
the
fucking
COVID
viruses
response
now
team.
and
She knows.
shit.
She's a doctor.
I'm so confused right now. I mean,
I'm just gonna keep
see,
going with
and
it.
Dupe's asleep right now. Look on
That's
the video,
okay.
he's asleep. Like,
I mean, because he never talks
dreaming
directly
about-
into his mic, you could barely hear him anyway, so it was like he was sleeping anyway.
Okay.
Oh,
So
he's
Lee,
awake.
Lee was onto something there. Okay. Because the second dream. Okay.
oh, he had a
so-
second dream about
there was
Lee.
immediately after that first one, there was a second.
Was
dream.
I in it?
About me again?
No, I mean, I guess we can make this one about Greg. All right. Greg
No,
was.
no. I don't want it to be about me unless I'm actually in the
Okay,
dream,
okay.
bro.
So
I don't want your pity dreams.
I'm gonna give you a pity dream. All right. So I'm in this room, right? This small room,
With Lee.
and like this,
Yeah, probably.
and this guy Greg is trying to murder me, right? Like
Lee.
he wants to kill me, and so like I try to
wanna kill
fight.
you.
I fight back, and I grab like this metal object, and I start smashing it into Greg's head. This is gonna be bad for a repeat, but Greg is like he can't be hurt. Like I'm smashing this metal thing into his head. It's doing nothing to him. He's looking at me like I'm like irritating him slightly. Like it's nothing. I cannot
Well-
stop this. Like he's going to murder me, right? And then his roommate walks in. We'll say Rick. Rick walks in, and they just like casually have a conversation. They're just like, "Hey, Greg, how are you?" And Rick's like, or Greg's like, "I'm doing good. I'm just trying to murder Duper over here." And I'm like, "What the hell is happening right now?" Right? And so the conversation continues on between the two of you, demented fools. And I'm like, "Can I go use the bathroom?" And Greg's like, "Yeah, go for it." I'm like, "What the?" So I could just go use the bathroom? And Greg's like, "Yeah, go ahead, go use the bathroom." So I go in the bathroom. I'm like, "All right, well," I pull out my flip phone, boop, popped open, and I dial 911. And I'm like, "Dude, I need to get the police here, right?" And then I start texting friends. I'm like, "Here's the address. Here's where I'm at. Come help me out, right?" And then it goes black. And then I wake up and I'm shackled up against the wall. And the character that is not Greg is like walking in. And I realize that this is it. Like, this is done. Like, I cannot hurt this guy, right? I bashed him over the head with a hard metal object and I couldn't stop him. And then at that point, I realize it's a dream. And like, I'm trying to break free. And then once I know it's a dream and I get control of the situation, I rip the shackles off the wall and I start beating him with the shackles. And then now it works, right? Now I can affect this guy. And then I wake up. What's that dream about?
Did you go through my medicine cabinet when you're in the bathroom?
Sounds like it, right?
Dude, I think you have a lot on your mind and a lot on your subconscious that you need to get out.
No.
So hold on.
I can tell you.
But to be fair, you've been going through some shit lately.
I sent you a
so-
text message, and this
yeah.
was all probably directly and related to that, and I'll
Yeah.
say that here in a minute. But Lee, what were you gonna say?
Oh, who was actually in the dream?
In this dream, nobody was actually none of you guys. No,
Oh.
they're
was just
they're
random-
unknown,
Random things.
murderers trying to kill me.
Dude, no matter how much you try to troll me in this life and piss me off at times, I will never try to kill you.
I know you won't, man.
Yeah.
But
I just
you
wanna
said
put
you
that out
wanted to
there.
be in the dream, so I put you in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I didn't know you were gonna make me a
So-
fucking attempted murderer.
I'm,
Like
su- I'm sure if,
Jason,
I'm sure
right?
if
Like-
you, I mean, you guys know that in dreams you can't punch, right?
What? I've punched things in my dreams.
No, you have not.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know. if
sure
that's
I
true or
have.
not.
You can't punch in your dreams.
Every time Duper's late.
Is that like
Talking about that night.
a rating or what?
Uh,
Did you know in the 1990s when Spider-Man, the animated show, was on TV, he couldn't actually punch anybody? So that's like the same rules in your dreams.
yeah, sure. In your
Interesting.
dreams, if you're punching or hitting or doing something like that, or you're in a fight, right? I'm sure everyone who listens to this can relate. I don't know what the fucking three of you weirdos, but
That's not nice.
when you go and you try to punch in a dream,
Mm-hmm.
right? The punches never seem to like do anything. They're always like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
that's
why-
how the metal
I
object
can't-
was,
yeah,
right?
I can't punch hard enough. I can't seem to affect this guy. I can't seem
Yeah.
to do this. I can't seem to do that. And you feel like you're just never making contact and that kind of stuff, right? And it's actually because the areas in your brain that affect that kind of movement in real life are switched off when you're asleep.
Fucking
Right.
psychiatrist Goldman over here.
So
You know?
because you're in a self-induced paralysis almost when you're sleeping, right? When you go to punch things in your in your sleep, the neurons aren't firing right, and you can't get it done in the dream. I don't know. It's weird.
Can
It's
you
hard to explain.
kick
But
in the dream? Like
No,
if
no,
have
you
a
can kick and you
plantar-
throw a punch. You just can't land the kick or the punch.
yeah, but you also notice that you can't land any of them, right? It's all.
Mhm.
It's also like if you ever had a dream where you're running away from something, you can't seem to run as fast as you can.
But what if you have plantar fasciitis? Can you kick in your dreams then?
Yeah, probably.
Well,
Okay.
what I mean, you can kick with your foot, Greg. I don't think you understand what plantar fasciitis is.
Plantar fasciitis.
Not to mention, it has nothing to do with a ligament tear. Like that's totally.
Rick
I don't
had
have
no
plantar
idea what plantar
fasciitis.
fasciitis was until
So-
he got injured. Let's just be honest. He didn't know either.
Rick, this podcast is now officially about me. Okay, calm down.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
so
really?
here's an actual
no,
explanation.
here's what I think happened, right?
Well, I have
Because-
the actual
Okay,
uh,
go for it.
thing really quick, just so we can move on from it. So during shut up, Rick.
I want to hear more dreams.
During REM, when most dreaming occurs, certain areas of the brain responsible for motor control and sensory processing are not active. This reduced activity can impact how vivid and realistic physical actions feel in dreams, and it ties directly into like when you're punching something or you're running or you're doing that kind of stuff. So anyways.
REM, like the band?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's what I think happened.
That's me in the corner.
That's me in the spot.
As you guys know, I had a friend that passed away from a long battle with cancer on Saturday, right?
Mhm.
And so like these dreams followed that like immediately, right? So
Oh, so you've got a huge fear of losing what you have around you.
no, what I think it was like feeling helpless, right? So that was when I was bashing him in the head. Was like, dude, no matter what I do, I cannot help. I cannot control the situation. I have no control, right? I cannot get this stuff and like I just felt helpless. I don't have a better word than that, right? I just couldn't do enough. I couldn't break free no matter what. And then the shackles, when I realized that, okay, like when I break the shackles off the wall and then I'm actually able to attack him, maybe that's like symbolic of actually just taking control of your life and just confronting your problems directly. But I don't know why I was helpless in one situation when I was trying to confront those problems. And then in the first dream, I was very indirectly, like very standoffish in that situation where I'm just observing, right? And seeing these things happen. In the second situation, I did try to confront the situation at first, but I guess it wasn't controlled. I guess I didn't feel strong enough to do it. And then at the end of the dream, I got the strength to actually fight back. Is that logical in any way?
No, just because dreams aren't logical in themselves.
No,
Is
I
it-
don't know if that's true or not.
Is it
because-
interesting? Yeah. I mean, can it have ties to stuff going on in your subconscious? Absolutely. But also you got to recognize too that sometimes dreams are just dreams.
I don't remember the last time I had a dream. Like I'm not a regular dreamer. That's the reason why I would bring this up on
Well,
on a
people
podcast
dream-
of all places.
You know
I
where I
don't
would
know.
recommend for you to bring it up? A
psychologist.
therapist. That's the best place to go with these.
Some people will say recording a
No, no.
podcast is therapy though.
Yeah.
It's a form of
Other
it's
people
a
will say
form-
it's punishment. But
No, I think I worked it out. I think I'm good. I think I'm good because like before that, I was kind of in a haze, right? Like to be honest, like there was more going on this weekend too. There's a lot that happened this weekend, and that was one of like three things. But after that dream, and then I was able to fall back asleep after I sat there for a little while. I woke up and I felt relieved. I felt good again. Like it felt normal.
that's
So,
good.
Yeah, it was weird.
That's good. I mean, but anytime I have Lee in my dreams, I feel the same exact way.
Me too, man. Me too.
Dud.
I dream about myself.
Butt sex. Dun, 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 butt sex.
And you have gone down one path tonight, Rick. That's
Yes,
That's
he
it.
has.
becoming a trend.
I know.
Yep.
So I was asking this, and this is going to totally change the subject to something
No, it's all good. I'm
superficial.
over.
Huh?
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done
Good.
with my topic.
So here's the superficial thing that I wanted to ask. And I noticed it, and I text Greg, and I'm like, Greg, why? Nobody can give me an answer. Why the fuck does every show or movie, everybody has their cell phone, nobody has a fucking case that protects these expensive ass fucking phones? I noticed it in one show. Greg, you got me watching Billions, and I noticed it, right? And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's an Apple show, and that's why you have to see the phone or something. But then I realized, no, this is on Showtime. This isn't an ad placement. These motherfuckers really do walk around with a phone and no case or protection. What is happening? Because now
heard this
everything I
question.
watch, if you look at every fucking show and movie you watch, they never have a case on their phone. Protect your fucking phone. It doesn't make sense to me.
You
Maybe
don't,
they don't
you
need
don't
to
think it's ad
because-
placement?
Well, you don't know what version of that phone it is, and a lot of these don't use an Apple or a true Android, right? Because they don't have the rights. So they're just generic ass smartphones, and they never put a case on them.
Why does it
But
bother
that's
you so
extra
much?
money. That's extra money for the production team to get
That's-
more materials.
That's
A
all. it
$4
is.
case?
That's really.
No, I
all it
really,
is.
I
You
really
think
just wanna
Ethan
know.
Hunt? Ethan Hunt never had a
Four-
fucking case on his phone.
$4 case, like, dude, like fucking a simple OtterBox case, like this is like $40-$50.
Yeah, but you can get
Yeah.
a $10 case and still make it sound like, at least you protected it somehow. All I'm
A
saying,
$10
I'm about
case
to
is
go
not
see
going to
this,
protect
like,
your phone.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Remember when you told Duper that if it doesn't affect him, he shouldn't worry about it?
This is bugging me. Do you remember watching Spider-Man Far From Home and he's flying around and he's pulling a cell phone out of his pocket to make phone calls out of his suit that he just got in a fight with? Didn't have a case. How's that possible?
He has a spider sense and he knows when his phone's gonna get broken. He doesn't need a case. Like in that
It doesn't
situation,
make sense.
It's a
Spider-Man-
Stark Industry
and-
cell phone.
Yeah,
It's
Spider-Man has sticky
indestructible.
hands.
It's
He has sticky
illogical.
hands. He has sticky
It's a s-
hands, so he's not worried about dropping his phone all the time like we do. Like, no, Spider-Man's a poor
Yeah,
example.
but I mean, what if
of
he
this.
gets punched there? Like somebody
Did you
just punches him.
say? Wait. You said it was illogical that
Illogical.
a Spider-Man movie, a fictional character, does not have a case on his cell phone. And you said that's illogical, bro. Not the fact
illogical.
that he's swinging all over the place and web shooting and.
Well, I
fucking
mean, of
all
course he can do that. He's Spider-Man. What the fuck? That makes sense. That's rational.
You know that he's fictional, right, Rick?
What?
Fuck you
Spider-Man.
mean
What?
he's fictional?
I'm just shitting all over you guys today, and I don't know why. I mean, you got Tiffany, and then now you got Spider-Man, and and then
Who's
I
Tiffany?
evidently tried to kill Duper in his dreams, but just
Oh,
that
you're
guy
talking about
today.
the airplane chick again.
Yeah.
Duper's really onto her, man.
Yeah, he is.
I wasn't following this at all, and then it was brought up to me. so-
I mean, do you think? I mean, Dupe wears as tight T-shirts as she does going through the airport. So
Do you think it's the same shirts, like same brand?
probably is.
They're all Lululemon. All of it.
That's it, man. Just name brands for me,
Look,
bro.
it's Fabletics, motherfucker.
So Rick or Lee, because I know
Yeah.
Duper hasn't. So have you watched Ahsoka yet on Disney Plus?
No.
No.
I am very worried. Like it, I'm hoping. So far, it's not good, bro. And
Really?
there's 2 episodes out, and I think the third one just came out today as a time of a recording. And so far, they're not good. I'm hoping though, because if you remember Obi-Wan, the first couple episodes weren't that good either.
I mean,
So-
I was in.
and then it just turned into like the most amazing thing ever. So I'm hoping that that's the case here. But yeah, so far,
I'm gonna be
the
real
actors
with
aren't
you.
really clicking. You know.
I'm gonna watch it eventually, but I'm not like invested in Ahsoka because I didn't watch the cartoons because I was a grown up by the time they came out,
No, you don't
and
understand.
I just didn't have time. I tried.
You
I
need
tried.
to
I was
watch
like,
it
Rick,
alone.
we
hold
all
on, hold
watch
on.
it.
You were a grown up when that came out. Tell me about Spider-Man again.
Well, I mean, ask about Spider-Man. Go head down to Manhattan, see if he's swooping around. Ask him. Ask him about the fucking cell phone. Tell me how that works. At least Batman makes sense, right? He's got the phone built into his owl.
Why not? Stop.
Like,
Nobody cares.
Jesus, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I don't know. So I'm gonna watch it eventually, but I'm not like they're like everybody's like, ooh, and then this guy's back, the Chopper, and this other thing, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what these are because they weren't in the trilogies in the movies, so I don't know.
You gotta give the shows another chance.
Dude, I'm telling you,
There's
like
so many of
like
them.
the Clone Wars And even if
Okay.
you want to skip Clone Wars and just watch Star Wars Rebels, oh my god,
All right,
the Star Wars
dial
Rebels
this back.
was amazing.
Or at least watch Bad Batch. And
I
then go
did
back
watch
after you watch Bad Batch and decide that
the
you can
very,
watch the
very
rest.
first series, like the very first season of Clone Wars that they did in the different animation style. I did watch that, and that shit was great. That was a good show. I enjoyed that. And then they came out with the CGI shit, and I was like, I don't care about this.
Watch Rebels, dude.
Yeah, I'm super excited for all of it.
Really?
That's why I didn't include you. Okay.
First of all,
I
they
have
probably
murdered
used-
you from Star Wars talk.
They used some
okay?
kind of adult or inappropriate content that his child should not see. Believing in midichlorians and a higher power.
Yeah. I don't think
yeah.
they play Wu-Tang music though in Star Wars shows. But
They should.
Good.
oh, it'd make it so much better. I agree.
Can you imagine like
Yeah.
Mace Windu walking in?
You know?
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. And he's just fucking blasting people with the force pushes. And
It's the opening credits. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy.
no, fuck that. It's the intro to Liquid Swords. And it's just playing behind as it's scrolling up in a galaxy far, far away. And the chick's like, and they thought they killed him, but they didn't. And then just like the beat drops right as the god damn it, it'd be amazing. Bring that in.
Yeah.
Sounds like we need to make our own video.
Yeah. I mean, and screw Flight of the Valkyries and that whole fight scene, man. They need to fucking,
Is that
play
what it's
that
called?
song.
What the hell was the name of that song?
Oh, from episode 1, the lava fight, or
yeah,
episode
it's not
3?
Flight of the Valkyries. I know what you're
It's
talking
Flight
about.
of something. I know that.
I don't think it's Flight of. It's something else. But you're right. You're close.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
Watch him be 100% correct.
He could be
I'm
100% correct. He's
I'm probably not. I know.
he's
I
the
think
guy.
it's Flight of something.
I'm
but
looking.
anyway.
Did you guys watch that big crowdfunded Spider-Man movie that came out on YouTube a couple weeks ago?
No.
What?
It's like called Spider-Man something. I don't remember what it's called. But now that we're talking about Spider-Man, I'm bringing it up.
But did you watch it?
Oh
I
no, I
watched
know what
like-
it is. Battle of the Fates. I don't even
No,
have to
there
say
you
it.
go.
No.
That's
I
it.
think
I watched like the first 3 minutes and I got bored of it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that.
Oh no, it's Duel of the Fates. Sorry, God
Duel
damn
of
it,
the
Duel of
Fates,
the
yeah.
Fates.
Yeah.
Ah, I fucked that up. But that's okay. That's what it is.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
good.
man.
That's still one of the greatest fighting scenes ever.
What is
It
happening?
was called Spider-Man Lotus, and like it had a whole bunch of like hype about it. And then it came out, and then there was like a lot of controversy around it because of some comments that the main actor and director had said in the past. And then I tried to watch it, and it was terrible. Well,
I mean, it's fan
It was-
footage, so yeah.
I don't know if it was terrible. It's just 3 minutes. I got 3 minutes.
I'm looking it up on YouTube right now to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, I got to get solid 3 minutes out of my time.
Non-profit feature-length film, unaffiliated with Marvel, Sony, or Disney. This is exactly how it starts. Can we get in trouble for rights if I share this?
I don't know, but let's just not.
Okay, it
No.
doesn't.
Well, they can't copyright it, can they?
Well, I'm sure Gavin Day.
But they could strike against us if we're posting it.
Share it.
So.
Solidarity and all that.
Share it.
I can't do it, dude.
Can't do it.
The
Not
fuck?
in good faith.
But anyway, this is riveting. So, all right. So you brought up a crowdfunded movie that you did not even watch.
Well, I thought maybe you guys did. I wanted to know if it was worth
Nobody knows
watching.
about crowdfunded movies.
Well, this one had a lot of hype around it.
By who?
Like, a lot of people were excited about it.
Who? What people?
Twitter.
There's no such thing as Twitter.
The Twitter people.
It's X now.
Yeah, they were very excited about it. And so it was hyping and it was trending. So I was like, oh, I didn't even hear that a new Spider-Man movie was coming out. And then it came out and I watched like 3 minutes. And I thought maybe you guys as big Spider-Man fans might have watched it.
Well, I
Maybe
jumped an
I-
hour in to see what his suit looks like, and it looks like it's a costume from what's the place that takes over every building? It's like a vulture.
Spirit.
Spirit.
Halloween.
Yeah.
I love Spirit Halloween. They're opening.
Why do you
soon.
love Spirit Halloween? Everything's overpriced and cheap.
Oh, everything is like cheaply made. Okay,
Yeah.
because I was confused by your comment for a minute. Everything's overpriced and cheap. What? What?
Cheap, like as in cheap
Cheaply
made. Yeah,
Yes, cheaply made.
made from China.
Because I love it, dude. I do.
Hey, I got a question. I actually heard about this today, and I didn't notice it, but I guess this happened during the debates last week. Would you guys bomb Mexico to stop the fentanyl crisis?
What?
That's a
not
real
what
thing.
was-
Like,
that's
this is
not what was said.
Who said
See,
that?
I knew he was going to go for that. That's why I
Oh
said
my
it.
god.
No, they said that they
Would you
send in
use
special
military
forces
force
that-
in Mexico to stop fentanyl?
Who says they're not already?
Against Mexico's wishes, actually, you do something like shoot missiles.
I mean,
No,
dude, we
no,
said
no. You are drastically.
No, I'm not.
overstating this.
Trump actually said that he was going to shoot there. He looked, he explored it, right, and he realized that
I
obviously
thought
you can't
Trump
fucking
wasn't
do
at the
that.
debates.
But that
No, he
but at the
wasn't.
debates, this was actually brought up. Like, what would you do to stop Mexico? And his boy DeSantis, he's the one that said, "Well, I'll fucking do it day one." Like,
He didn't say anything that you
I'm
said.
all with. What did he say?
Anything that you said.
What did he say? Well, no,
He
he
said-
didn't, because I'm not going to paraphrase him, or I'm not going to verbatim him. I'm going to paraphrase him. I verbatim him.
No. You're slandering him. You're slandering him. That's what you're doing. Just like the
Good.
media
So what
does.
did he say?
He said
Oh
he
my
would send special forces in to deal with the cartels.
Can he do that without Mexico's permission?
Yes.
Trump
The
was able to
special
build a wall
forces,
with
they get
Mexico's
deployed all over the
permission.
world without government's permissions.
And then what happens?
We
then
went and
what
we
do you mean,
killed
what
Bin
happened?
Laden, Rick, without Pakistan's permission. You know that, right?
Do you think
That's
the
what special
so
forces
here's,
do.
here's
They go-
the other part
They go to
this, right?
countries all over the world.
This is why I'm asking. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not against this. I think this is a real problem.
The missiles or the special forces, Rick?
Which one? The missiles or the special forces?
Yeah. Do you want to bomb Mexico? I don't know what you're for here because you've said so many random ass. stupid
No, I'm
statements.
saying I think that I don't have a problem with military action if that's what it's going to take. What I'm curious about,
But it's not military action. It's a precise military. One is.
it's a
is-
military
yeah.
action, Duper. I thought it's not military action, but it's a precise military action.
What? But
Fucking
you're
military
talking-
action.
But you're talking about
Touche.
like you're talking about a bowling ball versus like a precision knife. Right?
Don't we
They're
have
two
precision
very
missiles that
si-
could do it faster and easier?
But you can't. I mean, we've seen how good we're at that. We are with that because when we bombed Afghanistan after we pulled out, we killed a family. Who Biden killed that family in that of an interpreter, an ally of the United States.
Biden did it?
Biden, yes, he carried out the orders.
He
Did he
carried out
do
the
it personally? No, he did not jump on the back of the rocket and fly
So
over.
you're
no.
calling him? So he's a murderer like Obama now?
What?
What?
Obama did not murder or rape or do any of those things to his chef.
The government thing again. I forgot. No, but so like the bigger question too, because I'm not
So-
objective to doing something more than what we're doing, because it's obviously still a problem with fentanyl, especially. We didn't have fentanyl 20 years ago, and this shit is literally a fucking one of the biggest problems in our country, and it's not nothing's stopping it. Nothing has stopped it yet.
So
We're
can
not
we
even
use
trying to
can
stop it.
can we use special forces against the Sackler family for the crisis that they caused for OxyContin?
For real.
Well, we should. But
Not
you
against
don't
that.
think
I'd
don't
rather
think
send them to
Mexico-
that than Mexico.
you don't think Mexico would be in favor of us getting rid of those cartels?
I think that
'Cause I
Mexico's
think-
already said that they don't want our military in their country.
I think publicly they'll say that. Behind closed doors, it's a different deal, right?
So-
Because publicly they don't want the cartels running through those streets. We know what they will do. Like there's towns in Mexico that tried the crack down on the crime out there, and what the cartels do is they murder your family one by one. They kill everybody close to you, and then they come after you, right? No, you don't want to publicly say that about any of those cartels if you're in Mexico, because you know that they will murder everybody around you.
Should
No.
they be?
So
And this is the
behind closed
question.
doors,
This is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get to. And Trump, Biden, they both had to wrestle with this, and both of them declined to do it, and it's still on the table, right? Should they be listed as foreign terrorists?
cartels.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it poses enough of a threat. I mean, between the human trafficking, the drug invasion, the murders that they do. Yeah, I think so.
What would you think a real solution is?
Dude, I'm kind of digging DeSantis's idea. Let's send the special forces in.
It's not his idea though. Trump already had that idea.
Yeah, but here's the difference between Trump.
Baby, like it raw.
Lee,
Here's-
what would you do with Mexico? Since we know that's a big area, and then the problem with the fentanyl issue is it's not just coming from there; it's coming from China, and it's coming from within our own borders badly. So
Okay.
we've got an issue all around. I feel like it's not taken as serious as it should be.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
because of states like yours where you're basically legalizing
States
it.
like ours. So
It's not legalized out here.
No, but you do have. They're giving out goodie bags in San Francisco where it includes needles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They
but
have
they're not
safe
passing out
spaces.
fentanyl to fucking
because
kids.
there's a fucking crisis.
They have safe
That's
spaces
why.
where you can go shoot up, right? Dude, no, you're
Okay, I didn't say I agree with any of that, but they're
you're
not passing out
compounding-
fentanyl to fucking children at school.
No,
That's not
they're
gonna
handing
pass
out
it.
Narcan because
but you
kids are getting the
making it-
same fucking bullshit that we would get when we were in high school, right? Our friends would go and be like, "Oh, I got a Molly, and I'm gonna pop a Molly," or
The more you
"Here's a Special
normalize it-
K," and now it's laced with fucking fentanyl, and they're ODing in bathrooms in the
Yes.
middle of fucking school on a school day. So yeah, they are handing out Narcan because these kids don't know if there's fentanyl laced in there to blend it. It's scary now. These
You've
kids are doing the same
normalized it.
stupid shit
You've
that we did in high
normalized it.
school. And now there's something in there that can literally kill you. It's not, I mean, obviously it was dumb to do it in the first place.
Kids want to do, and it's not just a kid problem here, but yeah, kids are affected too. But when it comes to kids just want to do something rebellious, right? And once we legalize weed all over the country, now kids are like, well, fuck it, that's not that bad.
I don't know if
Right?
it's
The
I don't
government
know if
says
it's
that's
necessarily
okay.
rebellious as it is discovering different things.
Exactly. That's just being young. It's something
mean,
that
Well, that
Rebellious is probably a
rebellious.
part of it, but I think it's more about discovery, right? Like, hey, have you ever done weed? No, man. No, you want to smoke something cool, and then
It's
you
about
know?
pushing. It's about pushing boundaries because you got to find out what those boundaries are, right? That's what you're doing when you're an adolescent. Is that you're discovering how far can I push the boundaries before I get in trouble,
I don't
right?
think it's
And
all that. I think it's
It
actually
is. It's about how do I
exploration.
fit into society? How do I
But
fit
what
into
about those
society?
kids who try and experiment with things and they just do it one time and they're like, okay, no, I'm
Right.
good. You know?
I mean, I fucking in
They
my
found
senior
their
year of high
boundaries.
school, I tried Soma and did it once and I was done. But imagine now if I tried the Soma and it came off the street, there's a good chance that half of that's fucking fentanyl.
So
And that's the problem.
So you think the government should be handing out narcotics?
I think they don't hand out narcotics; they hand out fucking Narcan. There's a difference.
What's the
This is
difference?
a drug that
Explain to
counteracts
me.
narcotics.
So syringes,
They aren't.
No, dude,
syringes, they're
Narcan's a nasal
inhalers.
spray, bro.
but
Yeah.
they're giving out syringes. They're giving out.
They
goodie
are to
bags,
the
they
drug addicts that are fucking all over the streets. Yeah,
and that's you're for that. You're in favor of that.
giving them clean needles
Yes.
so they don't spread disease because they're going to do this anyway.
Are they going to do it anyway?
What do we? Should we just walk out on the street and shoot every one of them in the fucking head?
So
What are you gonna do with those
You are
people?
so stupid.
What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go and fucking detox all these people, dumbass?
okay,
Tell me where
let's-
that's gonna go.
Okay,
Like you
so
don't
let's-
have a solution. You're just
They're
complaining.
starting to call
So
names.
that's all it
Greg.
is. Like
Okay.
literally, I've heard
love
you
it.
do nothing but fucking bitch and moan about you're gonna hand out needles. All right, what are you gonna do with all those
This has
fucking
been
idiots?
brewing for a minute.
They're all
Lee.
out there fucking stuck
Uh-huh.
on drugs.
They
Tell
haven't
me,
talked
Duper,
for a
what's an
couple weeks.
actual
This is
solution?
brewing.
You're gonna come back
I
and
know.
go,
I know.
well, I have a smart solution that'll never happen, but I've heard it on Ben Shapiro, and it makes more sense than handing out a needle. Go ahead, do it. Tell us your great fucking grandiose plan. That's actually a solution.
So 5 minutes to get to a question. So what is the issue here? When oh, you really do have me off my fucking platform, man. Because you talked and you rambled for so
Brotherhood.
long. I got
Brother.
frustrated with the rambling.
Brotherhood. I just got it. My bad. Go back and listen to our
Oh.
Brotherhood episode, folks. You'll get it.
Goodness.
I love
All
it.
right. So I forgot what the initial conversation even was. We're talking
Mexico.
about narcotics. we're
Special
talking about
forces in
safe
Mexico.
Spaces.
Nobody said safe
Oh.
spaces.
What is your question, Rick? Because you rambled on forever.
I wasn't the one that had a question. You were the one that you were upset that my state hands out Narcan to kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they shouldn't. Okay, so
No, they
let's-
shouldn't.
oh,
But that's the world we live in. So
uh,
what's the solution?
okay, so here's an analogy for you, Rick,
Mhm.
because enabling, I won't even lead the question. Okay, so if you have a cousin, you have an uncle, you have a mom, you have a brother, you have somebody who's an alcoholic, all right, they're a hardcore alcoholic. They can't
Mhm.
stop. They're addicted to it, right? They've ruined their life over it. They're living in the streets because they drink too much whiskey,
Mhm.
right? So what would you do? Do you give them more whiskey? Do you give them more whiskey or do you have an intervention?
So the broken glasses they leave all over the ground, using that analogy instead of needles,
Mm-hmm.
that has their bodily fluids on it, or potentially their bloodborne diseases that are just laying all over the street that other people might step on, get pricked by, where disease can spread. we shouldn't be doing things to try and keep that from happening. We shouldn't be doing things so that they don't get whatever they're sharing needles with from the next guy,
But
so
you're
that it
not doing
continues to
anything about
spread
that.
and it's continuing to be a danger to public safety.
But you're not doing anything about it. Have you seen the homeless problem?
They're not doing anything about it.
California has something like a fifth of all the homeless people in that state. I think it's even higher than that. I think it's like 30 or 40% of all homeless people are in California.
40% of the people here are homeless?
No, of all homeless people are in California. California has a huge homeless problem.
Look that stat up.
Look up the statistic. It's very high. The number of homeless people in the United States that live in California. You're perpetuating the problem. Now, should we find humane ways? Can we find places where they can go? Yes, we should do that. I agree with that. But having them just live on the street and saying that they have a right to live wherever they want and do what they want, no, because that infringes upon everybody else's and the public's safety. And your proposals, your state's proposals, have done exactly the things that you say that you don't like. They put these people on the street. They put the needles in the street. You give them more needles to put more needles in the street. They don't go
when they spent the money and they actually went into
when they spent the money in
we went
San
into a
Francisco,
deficit.
when they spent the money in Portland, when they spent the money in Seattle,
that's not California,
in New York, in all these different various states. I understand where these places are, Rick. When they've done this, they've tried it. It doesn't work because the drug addicts, they don't stay in the safe space. They don't stay where they want to be monitored because that's not what they're after. They really go in, they get their needles, and they leave. Thank you for the goodie bag. I appreciate it. Let me go leave it on the street. And then what has your situation done, Rick? Is left more needles on the street. It's left more disease for normal, everyday passerbys to step in.
Okay. So what's the solution with all your... Again, you just spent another 5 minutes bitching. Give us a solution.
What's the solution? I think we need to build maybe warehouses where we can put these people up in, right? Like,
you want to put them in a warehouse?
Yes. I want to put them into public domain spaces where they can live, right? We need to get them out of Skid Row. That's not a good place. We don't want them all right there. Let's put them somewhere air conditioned where they where if that's the lifestyle that they want to live, then that's up to them, right? But don't do that on our public streets in front of everybody else, in front of my kids. I went to Hollywood. I almost got attacked 2 to 3 times, man. It was ridiculous.
How? I go down there all the time and nothing's happening.
I go all the time with my kids.
Yeah.
Maybe I just went on a bad day. I went on.
So here's a fun fact. You were talking about putting them in a warehouse, something with air conditioning, getting them off the streets. I just looked it up really quick just to double check. There's 1,270 missions and 24 emergency shelters in the Skid Row area of Los Angeles County.
Also, too, you may have to...
If you like, I can share the screen.
We have to do further research here, but I don't think for those places that are giving out needles, they're just giving them and then saying goodbye. I think there's stipulation behind them giving the needles where they have to use them in that location so they can properly dispose of the sharps.
Correct.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the intent.
Don't they ask them to detox too? They tried to get them to detox.
I noticed that you didn't. They offer it. Yes, you didn't come back to my my percentage about the 30%.
No, you're right. Actually, I was trying to wait for you to finish, but you did. It was 30%. It's 115,000 homeless people in California. That's a staggering number.
So what? I mean, okay. So there's a couple of factors there, right? One is your policies are not working, right? Because your economy is way off, and I'll explain that here in a second. The other thing, and this one is not a political thing. The weather is really good in California, right? So if you're going to be homeless, you're going to live on the street. Then
live on the beach.
That's a good place to do it, right? Because the weather's not harsh, right? But the economy is really bad. They've taxed you guys to hell. It's very expensive to live in California. So you're either very wealthy in California, and it's very difficult to get into that middle income tax bracket, right? And when you're starting off and you don't have very much money, it is very hard to find accommodations in California because it is so expensive.
Right.
And that puts a lot of people into a desperate situation. They find themselves on the street. And when you're helpless and you are banging Greg's head with a metal object and you can't fight away from him, like you feel helpless. Like you can't do anything about it. So they turn to the streets, and then they turn to drugs, and they turn to releases. Often they have mental issues, right? They have Rick's gonna roll his eyes at this, but we have a family crisis in this country, right? Where the nuclear family's been broken, and so that means the support system's not
Fucking
there for a
nuclear
lot of these
family.
people, right?
Dupe, I do want to throw another stat. I knew this is what I was looking for. Although we do have the most homeless when we're talking about drugs, Ohio actually leads in opioid overdose deaths. It's 2,106 or 7.4% of the national total is just in Ohio. That's the deaths that they're getting on the regular.
And Ohio's got a couple of things against it there.
And that's not including heroin and synthetic opioids.
Yeah. And Ohio is a tough state. And we forget about how tough it is up there because you have Appalachian Mountain folks, right? And then you also have the inner city folk, right? And there's a lot of drugs in both of those situations.
Well, you got to remember too, it was a very industrialized state. I mean, and a lot of their people are out of work. So that also plays into it.
So
I'd be interested to see what numbers are like in Detroit, cities like that. Pittsburgh.
What if we here's an idea. What if we take a page from your DeSantis playbook and we start busing them to places that can support small populations?
The left is really attacking Abbott and DeSantis over that. But if you're going to have a rush of migrants coming over the border, that is the best way to do it, is to disseminate them across the country.
But they aren't disseminating, right? They're just focusing on they're doing it snarky, and they're doing it with humans, and that's the problem, right? That's my problem with it. I'm just telling you, but that's my opinion, and that's on the side. I'm looking at this just strategically. We're an entire country, and we have a very major problem with drugs and homelessness.
Right.
If we have 50 states, who's to say the warehouses you're talking about, the communities, the communes, let's say, we build those up in fucking North Dakota or, Minnesota or these big grand areas, fucking Nebraska, where there's plenty of space. It actually might limit their resources for that kind of stuff and get them into a methadone clinic to do what they have to do. Why not start busing and distributing them out through the middle states, the flyover states? That'll bring them money, right? State and federal funding. That'll bring more resources. That's going to give you, it'll actually help the economy of that state, and it potentially could help these people and maybe help the homeless crisis as a whole. Rather than focus on a concentrated state that has the most, why not look at how do we distribute this federally and not just by state?
It's not an easy solution because you also have to look at the people involved, right? They're not necessarily like you and I. Mentally, they're not where we're at. They're in a different place mentally. And what is freedom to each individual person? That means a vastly different thing to me than it does even to you. Now, imagine the person living on the street. Some of these people just want to live on the street. They don't want to be in a house. They don't want to be confined, right? And how do you address that situation? That takes policing. It really does. You have to clean them off the street and get them off the street. You cannot tolerate that within a civil society. Diogenes. So my phone's buzzing, so I assume that's you guys. I'm not gonna check it. Fuck you guys.
He might know it's us.
So there's a philosopher, Diogenes, and he was a homeless guy. He would just walk around homeless all the time and ranting and raving. And he just didn't give a shit about what anybody says about him. And so one day he's laying down, and Emperor Augustus, or Alexander the Great hears about Diogenes and the things that he's saying. And he's interested by this homeless philosopher. And so he goes and pays Diogenes a visit. And he's standing above Diogenes, the most powerful man in the world, who's conquered so much of the known world. He says, Diogenes, what do you want? I'll give you anything you want. Diogenes opens his eyes and looks at the emperor, and he says, I want you to move out of my sunlight. That's all he says. He says nothing else to the most powerful man on the planet. That's it. His mindset is somewhere totally different. His freedom was being in the street. His freedom was not following society's rules. These people, they're sometimes different.
So it's almost like we couldn't just build warehouses and put them in them.
That's true. I agree.
So
now there are people out there who would want that, right? And we need to find ways to do that. I think the California way that they're doing it is wrong, where they're forcing hotels to accommodate these homeless people. That's not good. I don't want to take a vacation in California and then not know if the room over is a whole bunch of heroin addicts shooting up. I don't want that next to my 5-year-old daughter. I just don't. I pay for a nicer hotel so then I can get my daughter away from that type of environment. If I was okay with that environment, well, then I'm going to stay at the Motel 6 and I'll pay $50 a night if that even exists anymore. Like I would pay for that hotel. No, I pay for a nicer hotel so then I don't have to. I can try to be away from that. I can safeguard my children from that situation. But now in California, no, hotels are actually required to let homeless people stay in that hotel.
That's a broad
There's
statement,
vacancy.
but
I think
that's
so.
it's partially true.
I think there's a lot of things that tie in together to homelessness, right? Like, I mean, you talked about the mental health crisis, you talked about the family crisis, you talked about drugs, talked about addiction. Obviously, when people are addicted, that their mindset's completely different because the only thing they can focus on is how to score that next thing that they're addicted to, right? And a lot of people are homeless because of addiction, right? Where they sell things and pawn things to, and fuck up family and friend relationships so they can, get their next score. So it's challenging, right? Like it's not just any one thing to combat this problem, right? But when you ignore large facets of it, then yeah, you do get the large population of, Skid Row and everything else, right? I don't think sending special forces into Mexico is going to do anything. I think, we learned a valuable lesson, during the war on drugs, because it didn't change shit, right? It really didn't. I mean,
well, we armed the Contra.
Huh?
Like that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Iran Contra.
Yeah, Iran Contra, obviously, but dude, even with the Pablo Escobar, dude, DEA and special forces were there, and they're the ones who killed Pablo Escobar. What happened?
Well,
it just shifted to fucking Mexico, right?
But
like,
that's where the issue that when we meddle in these foreign countries. Afghanistan was another situation with that long war that they had with Russia, and we're funding the Taliban the entire time. Now we're funding Ukraine. I guarantee that that's not going to turn out the way we think it's going to turn out. We keep doing these proxy wars. We need to quit doing that. Maybe we need to put our feet on the ground, our special forces. Let's put the Navy SEALs because we put the Navy.
You do know.
When we put the Navy
I'm
SEAls
telling
on
you,
the ground,
dude, we did that in the 80s against Escobar and his cartel.
Okay.
I want to point out,
it didn't change anything, did it?
We got Escobar.
Okay, and then look
And
at
and then it went
heads
into a
pop up.
Hydra
exactly
situation.
Yeah.
right. Dude, like Netflix has like 10 different spin-off shows called Narcos that literally show you how this fucking all happened, bro.
Can I make a
ahead.
suggestion? I said earlier that I agree with military intervention when it's needed. And if it's Mexico, it's Mexico. I don't think it's Mexico though. I think that our biggest issue is China. They're the largest producer of fentanyl.
I agree with that.
And
but
how do we
think
deal
that
with them?
I think
We
that's
can't we can't spend special forces into China to take out those factories because those are state-run
different.
factories.
That is different, completely different. Because if we do that with China, that is a war on China, right? I think in Mexico, it's possible because I think that we could cut backroom door deals. I think it could happen. They're not going to publicly say, like, yes, let's send the special forces into our towns to clean this drug problem up. That's not going to happen because Mexico doesn't want that problem. Like, the vast majority of Mexicans do not want that shit in their country. They want to clean that up, but they're not strong enough. They're not strong enough, right? These cartels have too much power. They have too much control. It's the Mexican mob, or it's the Italian mob that we had back in the day, right? We need to go a similar route in Mexico to eradicate that influence or to minimize that influence as much as possible because there's still an Italian mob in the United States as well. That there's still gangs and mob activity here. We're not perfect by any means, but just to give up, throw our hands up in the air, Greg, I think that's the wrong thing to do too.
I'm not saying give it up. I'm saying your strategy's flawed. Sending special forces into Mexico is not going to change fentanyl coming into this country. It's not.
But you don't think it was slow to try?
Not at all.
So it's a
if
big
it does,
because a lot of it's coming from China.
So it's all about supply and demand, dude. Like, right, as long as there's a demand for it, China and other countries in the cartels are going to find ways to get that demand to
China's
addicts
a different
and the rich celebrities who fucking party and go clubbing fucking every weekend and they want these fucking drugs, right? And the politicians who fucking do that shit too, right? So I mean, it's all across. It's not just the U.S. It's Canada too. Like,
here's what I think we should do with China, and that's localize our economy. We need to go away from globalization because how is the fentanyl getting here? How's it
through
getting
multiple
here?
avenues.
Through
You
China.
want to
Air, land, and
nationalize
sea,
our
buddy.
economy?
You know,
Huh?
You want to
Right. So
nationalize our economy?
I want to, well, not to the level of North Korea. I'm not saying we need to be walled off from the rest of the world, but we need to get back to producing things in the United States and not being dependent on foreign entities.
Yeah, because
Especially,
as soon as we produce our own microchips, fentanyl will stop rolling in. God damn it.
mm. So
well,
that's
what would
so
that do? What would that do, Lee?
What?
That could slow down the import, right?
Oh,
We
that
could
will
slow
that will
down.
do
Negative.
nothing for drugs.
How is
I don't
that
think it
doing
will
nothing for
either.
drugs?
People are still gonna-
So where are the drugs coming from? They're
Addiction
not
is
coming
still
on
going to
cargo
happen.
ships.
Cargo by
But
land.
So you guys told me earlier I wasn't proposing
Domestically.
any ideas. I was
okay,
just
we
bitching.
localize our
Tell
economy.
me
We
how-
attack China. What's China going to do if we keep trade with Canada and Mexico? Oh, let me just send the fentanyl to fucking Mexico, and then the fentanyl will come up through Mexico,
That's
Or
why,
Canada.
or
that's
they'll
why
come
you
in through
have-
Canada.
That's why you have to address the issue in our bordering countries as well.
It's a multi-phased approach. I'll give you that, and it's definitely a complex problem. It's not one that's going to be solved by special forces.
So well,
you know-
I didn't say that's all. I
I'm
was
just
gonna say.
reiterating that point.
China was a completely different situation, and we have to address that completely different, right? Each situation is different. I think Mexico wants the cartels out of their country. China is running that stuff by state-owned entities. Those are two totally different situations that require two totally different solutions, right?
What's
is
the
your
solution for China?
China? You slow down the importation of items coming into our country, better controls of what's coming into our country, so then we can limit the amount of stuff that's being imported.
We
So
can't. We don't have the manpower, skill, or money to be able to slow down those ports and actually inspect every
Why don't we?
container. Right,
Why don't
less than 5% of those containers are actually inspected as they come through. Right now,
Right.
95% of those
Yes.
containers just show up on our shores, and we
Right.
have to hope the manifest is good.
And then not only that,
that's
China is actually buying those
That's the
harbors. Up.
transportation stats, baby.
You're a little off
China's,
there.
China's buying that stuff up as well, right? So then now they're owning a lot of these harbors in the United States in which can bring these things in. Dude, they're poisoning us on purpose. 100% they are. They're weakening us from the inside, and we allow it to happen. The other thing that we would need to do is within the United States is get this off the streets, right? We need to go back to holding people accountable. You cannot be
Dude,
high in public.
We have since the 80s some of the most stringent fucking drug laws out of any country in the world, and it hasn't changed anything.
Apologies, it's 3%.
Uh-huh.
So you guys are
Physically
telling me that-
inspecting, we only inspect 3% of all the
So-
containers
so
that
where-
run.
Yeah,
where-
okay, Rick.
where
a physical
am I off at?
inspection
Where
and
am I
sending
off at?
something through X-ray is something completely
Where
different.
am I
Physically
off
means
at?
you're actually physically opening containers.
Correct.
Doesn't mean they're not going through scans.
They'll run through. Yeah, they have they do have that big old X-ray that they're going to drive a truck through.
No, but now that doesn't mean that every container is getting screened. No, but it's way more than somebody is at least scanning it. They may not be opening every
Then how
single
is it getting
container.
here? How is it getting here?
Air, land, and sea. We already said
Mostly
that.
C though.
So sea is one of those things,
Yeah.
and air is one of those things, right? And those are both things that theoretically we have regulations to stop that from coming through, and they're not working. We need to modify those things, right? How do we modify them? My proposal, you said you don't like. Nationalize more products, make
I'm
them more
just-
at home.
I'm just telling you that we have some of the most stringent drug laws in any nation in the world, and it has not stopped. The war on drugs is a failure, a huge failure to the United
I don't
States of
care
America.
about the past.
No,
Let's talk about the
but the
future. What
past
are we
is
gonna do
leading to
today?
what we are at now.
Then tell me how to fix it.
I'm saying it's a multi-phase. I don't have the answer. I'm just telling you what hasn't worked so far.
And
You
you, don't
know,
think my
um,
ideas are they wouldn't work. But tell me how they wouldn't work.
So
Which one?
okay,
Special
kind of-
forces or the warehouses?
no,
No,
like
no, not the warehouses. That's from half an hour ago.
I don't know.
Um,
you want to take over Home Depot or something and put all the homeless
the
people in there?
no.
special
So
forces.
so
So-
I'm not necessarily against like centralized areas, putting these people in there and helping them, right? But then you run into other issues about funding, who's going to pay for it. I think another huge issue is we have probably some of the most corrupt and fucking useless health insurance fucking policies in this fucking nation, right? Health insurance and big pharma doesn't want to pay for fucking shit, right?
Sure.
Unless they can make a profit from it, right? So So that's a whole nother issue, right? And I'm not trying to say that socialized healthcare is going to fucking fix that. I'm just saying that it's a multi-phase approach. In the 80s, Reagan and his war on drugs went under the mindset of, okay, we're going to come up with all these drug laws. We're going to fucking, send people to life in prison if they have a fucking ounce of coke on them, right? And that didn't change anything. People were still addicted. The rich were still doing drugs. Everybody was doing cocaine in the fucking 80s, right? Regardless of the war on drugs and Just Say No from Nancy Reagan and all that. It didn't change shit.
Rick,
right?
do me a favor.
It didn't
Rick.
change shit.
Can we look up overdoses, drug overdoses since the 1980s and see if there's been a spike? Because there is a spike. I've heard.
Oh, there's a massive
absolutely, but there's been
recently,
also an evolution in big pharma with
let's
narcotics too.
Let's look at overdoses since the 1980s, and then tell me if that war on drug was not effective. Now, was there holes? Did we need to learn from the way we conducted ourselves in that situation? Absolutely, 100%. But that doesn't mean we throw our hands up and we say,
no,
well,
and,
you know
and,
what?
And
that didn't work. We got to give up the war on drugs. It costs too much money.
Can we?
And that's been an argument, right?
That's 23 years.
No, but we want to go back.
Years,
we want to go back to Reagan.
Okay, so I'm going from 1999 because that's what I can get from a reliable source. So this is actually coming from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, part of the NIH. So in 1999, there was less than 20,000 overdose deaths in the country. In 2021, there was 106,699 overdose deaths in this country.
So tell me, Greg, letting kids and drug addicts just do whatever the hell they want, that's been better?
I didn't say that, did I? I'm just saying the approaches are wrong, right? We need to look at mental health care as a whole, right? We need to look at our societal policies as a whole.
Go to mental health,
right? Mental health is huge. We have a huge mental health crisis.
So the other thing to look at, and this
country.
is actually some really good stats. I'll share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at.
Well, can we agree that we focus more on mental health today than we ever have in the past?
Yeah, because we're much smarter now. We're figuring this shit out.
Why are suicide rates going up? Why is depression at higher levels than it's ever been?
Addiction's a part of that too.
Correct. All right, so this is your overall.
Okay.
Overall deaths. You can see it's under 20,000 in 1999, goes up to 106,000 in 2021. What I found interesting is when you come down here and you're looking at just opioid deaths, we were not even, 8,000, 10,000 most in 1999, and we're up to 80,000 now in opioids. So that's not including heroin or any of that other bullshit. This is literally the fentanyl shit, right?
What was Escobar importing?
That's not an opioid. That's cocaine.
Okay.
Prescription opioids.
Opioids were coming in. Oh, yeah. See,
there's your Sacklers.
That's another huge issue is the pharmaceutical companies, right? They're selling us crap that we don't fucking need.
That's where fentanyl came from.
Right. And then
the fucking pharmaceutical.
Not only do they sell us crap that we don't need, but then they get us hooked on this shit. And then now you have an addiction problem, right? And then now you got to buy it from somewhere and you buy it from the street. Absolutely. The medical industry, the pharmaceutical and the entire medical industry is highly responsible for.
There's an interesting stat. Heroin is actually going down from its peak in 2016, and fentanyl's taken over. That's what you can see here. In 2016 or 2017, at our peak, there was 15,482 deaths in the last 23 years, right? 24 years. As of 2021, it cut almost in half at 9,173. So we've actually lost. Heroin is not the problem anymore. That's what you're figuring out. Here's cocaine. Cocaine has jumped up.
It's a hell of a drug.
But it's with opioid involvement. Stimulants in combination with synthetic opioids other than methadone, you can see that yellow line there stays flat, like it doesn't even exist until 2013. And from 2013 to 2021, it is just everything. It's over 30,000, about 35,000 a year.
And when did states start to explore with more of this open policy stuff?
What open policy?
The safe spaces to go do these drugs, the needles and all that stuff.
The methadone? They've been doing that for a long time.
I would say I would guess that it correlates very closely to these spikes.
Here's the other issue. This is another thing that gets laced with fentanyl, methamphetamines. This is psychostimulants. And that is also flatlined until about 2013, 2014. All of a sudden, fentanyl exists. And in 2015, you had 5,716. In 2021, you had 32,537 deaths.
So meth was
How
safe
much does
back in
that
the day.
is attributed to Breaking Bad?
Well, Breaking Bad came out in 2008 or 9, right?
I don't
I don't know, but
That's-
how
That
long
was
did it
pretty
run
bad.
for?
That's a dumb statement. We can just gloss over it.
You're welcome.
All right. So
Oh, here's the benzos. So this is the stuff that you're talking about. Some of the prescription stuff, right? This is the Adderalls and the interesting benzo. What do they call them? Benzodiazepines.
Mhm.
That has spiked.
Well, that's because we're
Significantly.
prescribing that shit to kids, and that's that medical industry. That's that
Benzos,
therapy.
no, they're not prescribed to kids, and they're actually heavily monitored now. And actually, you should start to see a drop because of how they started to regulate those. Like doctors are not allowed to fucking just flaunt those.
Doctors hand out way too many drugs. Like ADHD is not something that should be dealt with by drugs. Like we're a very drug dependent culture. I think we're the only state, the only country in the world that will allow pharmaceutical ads on TV, right? Is that true?
And it's
I
not
think
just
so.
that it's on TV; it's like every other commercial or
But it's
every
like-
other ad on YouTube is a.
Don't
fucking
watch the
goddamn
news in the
pharma.
morning.
It's
Yeah.
it's normalized, right? Like we're normal. We're in a culture where drugs are normal, and the more you normalize it, the harsher shit gets, man. That's why I don't agree with these safe spaces and handing out needles or any of this stuff. You have to make it taboo. You have to make it bad. You have to put that in people's mind that, you know what, that is bad. There is not a situation where that's okay. We need to re-educate our culture about drugs and get away from drugs. There's a weight loss drug coming out. They've been testing it, and they're saying that it's phenomenal for dropping weight. You guys want to try it? Would you guys take it?
I'm already taking it.
Dude, that's a drug. Dude, you can get the same results by busting your ass in the fucking gym and changing your diet.
Ibuprofen is a drug.
I minimize my ibuprofen. I rarely take any kind of
Acetaminophen
drugs.
is a drug.
And so I have a history with drugs, and I'll tell you what my history is with those drugs. Is when I was a kid, I used to go to my grandma's house, and I was a little kid, and it impacted my entire life about drugs. My grandma, she was always ill. She always, if she stood up, she was complaining about her feet, right? Always complaining. But she had this giant, like Thanksgiving sized silver platter of just prescriptions. And as a kid, I saw that and I was like, you know, man, I don't want to be like that. I'm there may be a time when I need to take a prescription. There may be a time when I need to take medication. There may be a time when I actually do need an antibiotic. But I do not want to start off that way, right? Like when I'm 70, 80 years old and I'm at that end of life, because my grandma, she was 50 maybe, and she looked like she was 80, right? There's a time for it. That there are drugs that are very helpful. If you have high blood pressure, things of that sort, drugs can help you get that down. Now, what needs to happen when we're younger, when we're healthier, well, we have the potential to be healthier, is we need to change our thought process. We're talking about mental health in this country. We need to change what is healthy. A couple months ago, a year ago or so ago, I talked to you guys about the Sports Illustrated cover, and they put the bigger lady on the cover, right? And I said that's not a good aspiration. We don't need to normalize that. We don't need to tell America, hey, being fat is okay. Be your authentic self. It's fine. No. Now, do we need to tell Americans or young girls that they need to be anorexic? No, that's not healthy either. Do you need to be
You're veering off a lot here.
Do you need to be Schwarzenegger? No, you don't need to be Schwarzenegger. What you need to do is tell society, here's a healthy weight. Let's keep our weights down. Let's do what we can.
We're talking about fentanyl. Just throwing that out there. Brings back around.
But we have a dependence upon drugs. Instead, what we want is a drug to fix every ailment that we have. ADHD within kids. What they need is an outlet. They need to go play sports. They need to be focused. Maybe they're not going to be the most book smart kid in the classroom. That's okay. Let's find out what they could be great at. Not every kid is meant to be a scholar, right? Let's focus them in a way where they can be productive. Let's not medicate them so then they can go take a test, right? Let's not have college students addicted to uppers so then they can take tests, so they can stay up all night studying. Let's change our society so then we're not dependent upon drugs. Because when we're dependent upon drugs, well, then you progressively get deeper and deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole. And then that's where this fentanyl problem comes in.
So fat kids are the fentanyl problem?
You didn't listen to anything I said.
I listen to you, Dupe, and you have great points, and I agree. We need to take down Big Pharma. I totally agree. They have way too much power, way too much lobbying power, and that's why, right? They're lobbying Congress, and they control large members of Congress that allow them to do whatever the fuck they want. Hence why the Sacklers were able to do whatever the fuck they wanted to in this country. And there was, to this day, zero accountability. I think they were forced to pay like chump change, like a couple billion, and they're like well over like hundreds of $1 billion, that whole fucking family. And the only thing that happened was they got their names removed off museums. And then I think the Purdue Pharma was able to file for bankruptcy. And why did we allow them to file for bankruptcy? Like, what the fuck, right?
They should have no protections.
I'm seeing a common trend against, big companies and big business in America is that you do whatever the fuck you want, right? Companies like the SEC can't do anything against you. And then when you do get fucked up and then you do finally go to court, well, you do a settlement and then you file for bankruptcy so you don't got to pay that settlement. That's what I'm fucking seeing.
That goes back to Obama, right? I mean, not just Obama.
It
goes well
Obama.
before Obama.
I mean,
but Obama said something that's
Wall
very
Street,
relevant.
dude.
He said something very relevant. They were too big to fail, right?
Yeah.
When you have all these businesses, they're too big to fail. We're worried about what's it going to do to the national picture, right? What's it going to do to our government, our economy? Fuck that, man. Fuck that. Those big companies that take advantage of people, that are killing people on the streets, that are robbing people. There was that big scam about that guy who was charging an astronomical amount of money for pills, right? Who was that guy?
Well, dude, look at fucking Biden right now. He's negotiating with pharma companies to get 10 drugs for cheaper costs on Medicare. Why is the president negotiating fucking medicines for Medicare? Like, why? Why has it succumbed to that, right?
And why is that only for Medicare?
Well, because that's the only thing that they have
control over. I get that.
Right?
I get that.
Yeah.
But why are we not forcing that as Americans? It's because they know they got us hamstrung, right?
Yeah.
Our health, we're gonna pay whatever it costs to pay for that, right? And we will go bankrupt, right? We'll declare bankrupt, and then they'll still make their money, right? We need to figure out a better way of doing healthcare within this country. 100%. One issue with that healthcare system is the dependence upon drugs. We need to get off the dependence of drugs. We need to start telling people what is actually healthy, what is good for people, and start making positive changes in our lives. Quit telling everybody that we're okay the way we are, because we're not. We can always be better. And we don't want to be pessimistic either, right? We don't want to tell everybody that you're a piece of shit and that if you don't go to the gym 7 days a week, that you're not doing enough. We don't want to go that far either, right? That's too much. Just let's encourage healthy habits, like Michelle Obama was talking about with the healthy lunches in schools. That was a great idea. Let's do that. Let's start kids off on the right path.
They did do that.
Well, they did that, but that's great. Like, that's a good thing. Let's continue that path, and let's not make everything partisan all the time. This is one of those things that we should all be on the same page on, but yet no, you're right, Greg. Pharmaceutical companies are way too much in the pockets of politicians, and that's on all sides, right? I would say more on the Democratic side, definitely.
Why?
Now, why? Have you seen the donations from Pfizer?
So the Republicans aren't in on some kind of evil corporate thing too. I'm just trying to understand.
We're on point with pharmaceuticals right now, right?
Okay, so I mean, but you called out one. Could you call it the other?
If you want to go talk about guns or something like that, we can talk about lobbyists on the Republican
how about oil?
side. But that's
energy.
Those energy is something totally different. You know, the climate change, dude, that is lobbyists as well, and we just don't see it because it's not from big oil companies. But why do you think that the green initiatives is being pushed so much? Because there's a lot of money in it. Biden said as much in the anti-inflation bill. It was all about green energy. Why is it all about green energy? Well, because there's a lot of money in green energy. And so I'm going to put money in my friends' pockets so then they create jobs and it trickles down. It's Reagan economics all over again.
Reaganomics. God damn it.
And that was another thing that didn't work either. So
No,
Reagan's war
Reaganomics
on
did not
drugs
work.
and the war on
I
fucking
agree.
is,
Reaganomics,
you know,
the trickle down does not work, right? The trickle down does
Yeah.
not work. It never trickles down,
Yeah.
right? You make so much money, you cannot spend it all. No, there needs to be a better system in place to handle that situation. But Biden's just pulling the wool over your eyes with this climate change stuff, man. Don't think for
I
a
really want to
minute.
hear you, but you go into this thing.
Yeah, I don't think we should go down. I've been telling you we need to save the climate change thing for its own show, and I think we've kind of gone on with a lot of heavy stuff today. So we'll save that for a different show. How about
Yeah.
that?
That's what I'm getting at. Like,
You know,
with the tangents, let's stick with so bottom line, fentanyl is bad, and in the last decade we've seen something. This is to me, I think this is one of the biggest health crises our nation, this world has ever seen, is fentanyl. And it's to me, I feel like even though we say we're taking it seriously, it's not being taken serious enough.
dude,
not being
it's
taken
an
serious.
end of life drug like OxyContin is, that is fucking mainstream now.
It's just it only costs a quarter of the cost to make of any other opioid, and it's 10 times more potent and 100 times more potent.
Yeah.
So of course this is what's going to happen. And here we are. I've got fucking teenagers. I mean, look at the news, search it, Google it, everybody. Google how many fucking drug overdoses in high schools you saw in the last year. You could probably Google, and there was 10 you'll find today. It's
Well, that's a
happening
mental health
everywhere.
issue as well, right?
What's that?
That's a mental health issue too, and that's a societal ill where
Or
kids
it's
go
just
like
party
they're
boys
isolated.
and party girls, trying to get high at school and
Some of
not
them.
realizing they bought something that was cut with fentanyl. That's the problem. They don't know. They might think they're just taking an oxy, and that's an oxy with half a pill of fentanyl, so they could press it and make money because it's cheaper. And that's
Yeah,
that's
when
the
we were
problem
kids,
with
it was ecstasy, right? That was always the fear is
Yeah.
that your ecstasy
You could
would
put
be laced
fentanyl
with
in
something,
X.
right?
You can lace that shit with anything now, and that's the problem. Anything they could fucking have it in their weed, man. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, man.
I don't know,
In their
man.
weed, man.
I'm just saying, bro.
That's the California coming out of Rick right there. So
All right, I'm just saying that's the situation, and right now, until a real solution's found, I'm okay with my kid.
Well, what would you do? What would you do?
Out to her.
What would you do to correct this situation, Rick? Because I don't think we've heard your answer.
I don't know if I have a proper solution other than fucking. To me, I feel like this is something where China has to step up and realize this is
China is not going to step up. They're trying to kill us from the inside out.
So then we go to war, huh? I mean, I don't know what to do. What do you do? I don't think closing off our borders and I would love for us to be more national, right? And grow our GDP, but realistically, it's too expensive, and we're too fucking. We are, as a country, are too entitled to say we're going to do the hard work and do it for less, because
That's
it's
not
possible.
entirely true. Because we have, and this is going to sound terrible, but we have a vast amount of immigrants coming over the border who want to work. They have harder.
Most of them are working.
They have harder work values than you and I or our kids.
100%, and most of them
They
are
will
working.
come over and bust their ass.
Yeah, but
Yes, we have
America's
a
been
labor force in this
America has
country.
faced that problem since the birth of the nation, dude. I
Right.
mean, look at the the Irish who came, right?
The Italians.
People hated the Irish. Fucking people hated the Chinese when they came over from the fucking West, right? Because they wanted to do the same thing that Mexican immigrants are doing now, right?
Right.
But we have to figure out ways to legally accommodate them to the point to where it's not impacting everybody else. Another thing too is that America is no longer a skilled trade nation, right?
Why can't we?
Like compared to other nations, like it's now slowly transferring to tech jobs and things like that. So people have been manually manual labor
Locations.
are having a hard time transitioning to IT positions and digital positions and stuff like that. Dude, I went to go do an oil change on my car like a couple weeks ago, and it literally took a couple hours. And I was just talking to the dude once I picked up my car. I'm like, hey, I don't care. I wasn't doing anything, but what's going on, And he's like, I can't find mechanics. He's like, since COVID, I cannot find mechanics in my fucking store. And he's like, and I'm the manager. He's like, and I don't have time to do my manager stuff because I'm in the garage turning wrenches with my guys because I can't get anybody to work in my shop.
Even if they
A lot
are
of
skilled to do
industries are
that, that
facing
job
that.
doesn't pay enough to be able to make a living,
And
to
that too.
afford a house, rent an apartment, do anything. I mean, just in my area, in our area here, just outside of LA, on the other side of the mountain, do you want to get a condo out here, a 2-bedroom condo? I was just looking at this. The lowest I could find was $2,200 a month. $2,200 a month. You want to rent a house and have a family and have an actual family house just to rent? You're paying $3,000 a month. Now, with the way our country's ran and the money and all the issues that we have there, which would be a huge problem for people that are trying to work these skill jobs that we need to bring back here for, let's say they're making $4 an hour in China. We're going to want bare minimum wage, $14 an hour, right? In some states, somewhere around there, just to say on average. $14 an hour is not going to be able to purchase a home that's selling for $380,000 at 7% interest.
So here's an issue with that, is like this bare minimum living wage nonsense. That is a cause of this inflation that we're seeing, right? Because we saw the demand for $16 an hour, and then a lot of companies met it.
Okay, so let's say it's $10 an hour.
Coincidentally, immediately after that, we saw rapid inflation. But yeah, there's no correlation.
It's not immediately after, but I think it is effect. I do see cause and effect there. I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is, even regardless if we didn't raise the minimum wage and we were at $10 an hour, that means the house would still be, let's say there's no inflation, a $200,000 house. They can't afford that at $10 an hour.
No, but
nobody can afford that.
That's because the mortgage rates are so high right now.
Even if the mortgage rates were back at 2% like they were 3 or 4 years ago.
Houses are way too expensive and the mortgage rate is too expensive right now. That takes a lot of buyers out of the market.
10 years ago, it was the same thing. And vocational schools now cost as much as college.
15 years ago, it was the same thing. Not 10 years ago, because that's after the crash.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, after the crash, when people are making $8 an hour, they still barely could afford, because that's when they were making $8 an hour. They could barely afford to fucking live then.
Here's the thing: is we're all older now, right? Oh, I want to sound like such an old man.
I'm an old man.
But what we didn't understand when we were young, and what the youth don't understand today, is you got to work your way up, right? You don't get out of high school and then you make fucking $80,000 a year.
No, 100%. But those same people,
that's not how that works, right?
In 1980, 1970,
you have roommates for a while.
1960, right? 1950, 1940. Those same people that got out of a war and didn't make shit and didn't have any skills. Those same people that came out of high school and were working, shit jobs, could still buy a fucking house. They could still support their families off of those wages. You can't do that now. That's the problem. So those guys can't even support. Those kids aren't able to support themselves. And not to mention, like Greg said, because we are more of a technical skill instead of a vocational skill country and economy, those kids have to go to school, put themselves in debt to be able to get the degree that will allow them to go in and make that entry-level job. You can't even get an entry-level job. I can tell you right now, where I work, an entry-level job requires a bachelor's degree. That's fucking crazy.
And how much do you have to spend for that damn bachelor's degree, right?
But it's 4 times the amount it was 9 years ago.
And why? Do you even use that bachelor degree?
No,
most people
you wind up someplace else. It's just a piece of paper.
Why? It's just a piece of paper, and why is it so expensive now? It's because we required that piece of paper. That is one of many issues within our society right now. Is requiring a piece of paper for you to go pay $100,000 for a piece of paper, and then you don't even do nothing with that piece of paper. All that does is get you a ticket into an entry-level job, and that's it. That's it.
No, it's an entry-level job, and you should be able to do that out of high school. I will even say, even us, we were lucky to be able to get out of high school when we did, because I knew that I was capable of moving myself up. I was lucky enough to get there right at the end of that, and even then, it was a struggle.
You can still do it. It's harder, I would say now. Right, the road is getting harder and more difficult.
It's literally impossible.
It is
getting to live on their own.
It is getting a lot more expensive.
You can't see a 20-year-old kid going into.
I couldn't live on my own when I was 20.
What 20-year-old kid can go work at a Home Depot and say, "I can live on my own"?
We couldn't do that when we were.
Yeah,
20.
we did. We were fine.
We did. We had roommates.
20 years ago.
Yes, you have to have roommates at the beginning.
How many people? Okay, let's say you're just making the $10-15 an hour and you're trying to survive, pay for school, do what you got to do. How many people do you think need to live in that fucking house? Like
in California, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 people.
Same thing in Nevada. Your rents and house prices are absurd too now. It's not any different there than it is anywhere else.
I'll use a friend of ours as an example. And I remember coming back from military leave one day, and I go over to his tiny little shitty apartment. It was a 1-bedroom studio apartment with a shitty little bathroom, and all he had was Jack Daniels all over the damn apartment.
Are you talking about Josh?
No. Dude had a tiny fucking crap hole of a place that he was living in. He was living by himself. He was making it work. You know who was the first one out of all of us to buy a house? Josh, right? Because he made those sacrifices up front. He wasn't trying to live beyond his means at that time. He was willing to live well within his means so then he could save and buy a home.
So
That's where
what
that's
if well
where
within
we've
their
lost
means doesn't mean they have a place to live because they can't afford it?
It's expensive. I'm not debating that. But you do have to make sacrifices. You have to be willing to live within your means. Maybe that means you don't take as many road trips. Maybe that means you see
Dude,
less
I don't take
movies.
fucking road trips. It's too expensive.
Maybe that means you don't buy a new iPhone every
You're still talking about
year.
extracurriculars. I'm talking about people that are just trying to fucking put food on the table and keep the lights on, and they still can't afford a place because they're not making enough money to do that. And that's entry level.
You need to work your way up.
No, I agree with you. Working your way up is the way to get ahead. What I don't agree with you on is that there's some magical solution that the American dream, if you just work hard, it'll come to you. These guys are fucked because of policies from 30, 40 years ago that really benefited that current generation and maybe the generation before without any regard to what was going to happen to future generations.
What
That's
policies are you talking? Are you talking about college education?
economic policy, yeah,
So
including education.
So education is too expensive today. There's no reason why we're paying as much money as we do for education. The reason why we pay so much money is because the administrative situation has gotten far too expensive, right? So we need to taper the amount of money that is spent on such things. Oh, I can't even look at the screen anymore.
I can't even go on YouTube now.
All right, I think
What is
we should.
wrong
I
with-
think that's a good sign to wrap
What
it
is wrong
up.
with Lee?
We gotta figure out how to wrap that up and
when
blur
Lee
it.
puts up the inappropriateness, that means we are done.
That's
So
a giant strap on in his back.
you know, hopefully we tried to save the world a little bit. I don't know if we did. We're probably just bitching, but
There's another
hopefully we
penis.
came with some good points.
I threw out solutions.
We all threw
Yeah.
out solutions.
Y'all told me, no, we tried that. Just give up.
Nobody said give up.
Nobody said give up.
That's what I
I
heard.
said fucking give up.
You just said it's
Yeah,
all
Lee
fat
gave
people's
up the
problems.
podcast like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
But
I did.
Lee
He's
helped me
tired.
figure out
The
a
kid's
dream. I
tired. Leave him
appreciate it,
alone.
bud.
He's working his ass off
Zoned
in an entry level job.
yeah,
And he's
Fuck you,
got
Rick.
12
Yeah.
kids to support. That's just
You-
expensive.
Lee's at the Home Depot just trying to work it out.
Here's what I'm going to tell the youth of America, the one kid that's listening to this podcast,
Your kid?
is don't give up, right?
Baby, I like it
Because
raw.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm seeing from this next generation is that a lot of kids are not going out in the workforce, right? And Rick, I applaud your son for being out there right now, busting his ass every damn day. And I know he doesn't make enough money. I know he's not being compensated for as much work that he puts in. But you know what he's gaining right now that a lot of kids are not? Experience.
Yeah, I've
And
been
it's
telling him
those
that this
kids,
whole time.
those kids that are going to work right now and they're busting their ass for less money than they think they're worth in 10, 20 years, those are going to be your leaders. And then what's going to happen with those kids that stayed home right now? Those kids that are sitting on their ass, playing games, living off mom and dad, not because that minimum wage job ain't enough money for me. You're going to be in that minimum wage job in 10 to 20 years. And you're going to be 10 to 20 years behind these other people who are busting their ass, getting valuable work experience. My advice to every young person out there is bust your ass. You're going to be underpaid. We're all going to be underpaid. You will make it if you continue to push, and you do have to put in the time. Now, does that guarantee that you're going to be rich? Does it guarantee that you're going to be famous? Does that mean you're going to be an influencer? No, none of those things might not happen, but you will make enough to get by.
Holy fuck. Someone hire this man as a preacher and fucking let him move on already.
Well,
No,
I mean,
I
I
think
don't
we
know.
should end
I'm
the
sure
podcast
our
on
listeners
that.
already turned it off. Like,
I couldn't wrap up the podcast any other better way. So thank you, Dupe, for those words. I couldn't agree more. And we will see you on the next episode.
you know,
Everybody.
he tried to
Info,
mic
take one
dropped.
hour,
It's on a
goodbye.
swivel. Oh, that's it. Goodbye. You're welcome for this quality take warning content. Like and subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Rate us wherever you can, and always share this fine product. Spread it like herpes in the 90s.